in, that means you're feeling the vibe. The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live. Right now, please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope Soul Sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, Brooklyn. All my people, you rocking with the chat. Hit that. That like button would tell me where you at. You know, step from the MBK. Born and raised up MBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
What?
Dope Soul.
What?
Your soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Knick family. Welcome to the channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk, Dope Soul Knicks Talk, a member of the NBK family. The Knicks lost a tough one last night in Madison Square Garden to the Los Angeles Lakers in overtime. You know what? I think the Knicks actually played shorthanded. You know, not only was Mitch out, but you can argue that RJ Barrett was a no-show. Randall, even though he had 23 points, he had 12 rebounds, wasn't his best game. You know, shout out to Brunson, IQ, Hartenstein, you know, even Obi with his rebounding in the second quarter. You know, those guys, you know, stepping up in support of, you know, players that were actually missing in action. In my opinion, RJ, Randall, Brunson have to show up every game. I just don't think we're built for any of them to have a bad game, and definitely not two of the three. And that's what happened last night. You know, I'm not pressed overall because this is a young team. This is a young team in terms of average age, and this is a young team in terms of playing together. So I'm expecting inconsistencies, and inconsistencies is what we've gotten, right? 8-game winning streak, 5-game losing streak. You beat Cleveland and Boston back-to-back. You know, you lose to Brooklyn, you lose to the Lakers, who have star players. Don't get me wrong, but they're still beatable teams. You know, I think matchups matter. You know, some teams we match up better with, and there's other teams we just don't match up that well. And I don't think we match up well, you know, with the Lakers. LeBron, AD, even Westbrook, I don't think we had anybody for them. We didn't have anybody for them. Westbrook, you know, you would think Randall has the advantage on the Westbrook in the post twice. You know, he stole the ball. You know, they're struggling. I think they're 4 or 5 games under 500 in the Western Conference. But coming into this game, they were 11-11, 500 against Eastern Conference teams, if I'm not mistaken. And they had the best players on the floor. You know, no excuses for us. And we were right there to push the game, you know, into overtime. I'm going to set up this game, and I'm going to do things a little different before I get into the individual and team stats. I want to go right to the game. And particularly, I want to talk about that last possession of the game. So anyway, let me just give some shout outs first. And then I will go into, no, let me set the game up first, and then I'll give some shout outs. All right. The Knicks came into the game 27-24, 7th in the Eastern Conference, winning 5 out of their last 10 games, losing their last one. The Lakers came into the game 23-28, 13th in the Western Conference. They're not even in the play-in if the season was to end at least yesterday. 4-6 over their last 10. They also came in having lost their last game. They started Dennis Schroeder, Troy Brown, Rui Hachimura, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis has been back for about 2 or 3 games, but he wasn't starting, right? This was the first game he's starting since coming back from injury. Pat Bev was out, I believe, with a sore knee. We started Brunson, Grimes, Barrett, Randall, Sims, and as we know, Mitchell Robinson is out. All right, let me just give some love to the chat. Tim Smith, I appreciate you. He's advocating that IQ never come out of a game until we retire his number. He's the only consistent two-way player we have right now, and I'm not arguing. with that. Geraldine McGive, I appreciate you. Deron Wayne, Harlem Girl, who's listening in the background, appreciate you. Jarrell, I appreciate you. JJ, Kerry Cox, Sean Kearns. I think I got Almighty Finesse, appreciate you. I think Cash Out James, Nav, the disruptor. The booing is coming. For me, Brian Wilford. Okay, Brian Williford. I hope I got that right. Appreciate you, Brian. If this is your first time, welcome. Like you said, Queen Getting Brunson has expedited our rebuild, and I think we should, consolidate some of our youth for an established wing player. Yeah, we'll talk about the wing play. Ajay, I appreciate you. Ashley Inc., Wiz, always Pudge Nice. All right, Andrew K. I think I got to everybody. All right, I'm just going to switch things up a little bit. I want to talk about last night's game. So this is a new slide I got just for reference, just in terms of how we scored, the first quarter through the fourth quarter and in overtime, what the score was at the end of those quarters, and our top three scorers, how they scored in each in each quarter. Knicks were down 5 after one. The Knicks did not get off to a good start. I think we were down 5-15, at some point in that first quarter, but the Lakers didn't shoot that much better, which allowed the Knicks to get back in the game. Say what you want about the Knicks and how frustrating their inconsistencies are. This is a team that never gives up. They don't give up. They went into the half, down 1. Kudos to Obi Toppin. I know he's getting a lot of flack, right now. But in that second quarter, you could tell that he made a concerted effort to rebound the ball. I think he had all 5 of his rebounds, if I'm not mistaken, in that second quarter. He was all over the boards, which leads me to believe rebounding is something he can do. I don't think it's something natural. It's something that he probably has to tell himself prior to the game. I got to rebound. I got to rebound. I got to rebound. But last night, last night he got it right. The Knicks, I think Brunson had 5 points in the second quarter. Randall only had 3. RJ Barrett had 3. RJ Barrett, right from the start, I just had a feeling it was not going to be a good game. I think the first shot he took, if I'm not mistaken, it was off the dribble. It looked sweet, and then it's like he just shot it out of bounds. Like I'm not getting RJ Barrett. Some games he just looks really, really good. I'm not even talking about his defense. Offensively, some games he just looks really, really good. And then there's other games where he just looks really out of sorts. We'll talk more about RJ Barrett, who didn't seem too pleased after the game that he didn't play much. The third quarter, Knicks were down 3. Brunson basically was the one who kept us in this game. I know Randall had 23 points. He had 12 rebounds, and we needed every point and every rebound he gave us. But in terms of his efficiency, it just wasn't there. It just wasn't there last night. Let's talk about the fourth quarter. Shout out to Brunson. Hit some big shots in that fourth quarter to get us back in the game. Took the charge on AD that gave us, the possession. And we're right there to win the game. We are right there to win the game. I mean, you can't ask for a better scenario, right? Yeah. Be up 10 with 4 seconds left, right? But in this particular game, given that RJ was a no-show, given that Randall didn't have his most efficient game, to be tied with the ball with 4 seconds left, that's a good place to be, considering how this game went. And I don't understand, the last play. I mean, well, okay. I kind of get it. I kind of get it. You have to decide, do you want somebody else taking the ball out to get the ball to Brunson when they are taller, longer players that's going to be guarding him as he's trying to get to the ball? And maybe you can run some screen action to try to spring him free you can definitely you could have definitely have done that. So I kind of get it. You're going to get the ball into Randall, and he's going to pass the ball back to Brunson, and then Brunson is going to, do his thing. I kind of get it. But me personally, as much as I'm a Randall fan, as much as I like the way he's been playing for us, and you're going to have bad games. So I'm not down on Randall because he's having bad games, a few bad games. I'm just not. He's in crunch time, crunch time, whatever you want to call it, which is the last 5 minutes of a game when you're either up or down 5 points. I don't want the ball in Randall's hands to make a decision. Now, if Brunson is making a decision and he sees Randall open and he passes the ball to Randall and Randall takes a shot, I'm okay with that. I personally don't like to see Randall in those types of decision-making positions because he just hasn't been good. Now, does that mean he will never be good? No. I've seen Embiid struggle, to come into his own and to become the complete player that he is even down the stretch. I've seen Paul George go through the same thing. So I'm not saying he will never, ever be clutch. And he's had some clutch games for us as well. I could think of 3 where he played well in the clutch, 2 of them recently. But on average, nah, he's not the one to go to. And I hear Tibbs. What Tibbs is saying is once we got the ball into Randall's, there's multiple options. But I just feel like he's not the guy to read those multiple actions. His decision making is not, that's that great. So let me talk about clutch time stats. And again, the last 5 minutes of the game, where you're either up or down 5, that's considered clutch time. So clutch time is a thing, right? It's defined in the NBA. So in clutch time, Jalen Brunson, only 3 players, have more field goals than him in clutch time. And I'm not saying he would have hit the shot. We might have even had difficulty getting the ball into him. So I'm, we can argue that he shouldn't have been taking the ball out. I get it, but I can kind of see, what Tibbs was thinking. So only 3 players have more field goals than him in clutch time. He's shooting 46.5% in his 119 clutch minutes. He's 5 for 13 from 3 in those minutes, shooting 38.5% from 3 in his clutch minutes. Julius Randle. Now, before I even get to Julius Randle's clutch minutes, let's just acknowledge he was not having a good game. Because you can argue, despite the his clutch stats that I'm about to read, you can argue, but he was having a brilliant game. So I can understand why he was in that position. But he wasn't, right? So Julius Randle has played the second most clutch time minutes in the NBA. And shout out to, let me see. I want to make sure I get his name. Right. I think it's Benji Rit Holtzman. I hope I got that right, from Knicks Film School. So shout out, for these stats. This is actually was Jonathan Macri newsletter, which I get, who outlined these stats. So I didn't have to go looking for them. So shout out to Jonathan Macri as well. He's shooting 27.3% from 3 in those minutes. 27.3% in his clutch time minutes, which is the worst field goal percentage of the top 50 in minutes played in clutch time. And he has 11 turnovers in those. My E must have got stuck. I don't know what's going on. And he has 11 turnovers in those minutes. Julius Randle is not the guy to go to in crunch time. To me, even when he's having a great game, I still want the ball in Brunson's hands. And Brunson hasn't been perfect, right? He's missed some game-winning shots as well. He's missed some key free throws as well. He has not been perfect. But he's been better than Julius Randle down the stretch. All of that being said, Randall still had the opportunity on that double team to pass the ball to Brunson. I think it was about still 2.5 seconds left, on that double team. Out of all of the times not to pass at the last minute, right? Randall, that's something he usually does. At the last second, he wants to make a pass. This was the time at the last second to make that pass because Brunson was wide open. I'm going to show this this clip from Rit Holtz. I really hope I'm getting that right. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. It was on Twitter. I'll put the link in the description. I meant to do that, but I was running late. So let me just play this video. And this is his opinion. And I'm not saying that he's correct. I'm just saying this is his opinion. We all have our opinions on that last play and on the game. And I'm sure you guys are pretty vocal about it in the chat. So I'm going to get to you in a minute. But let me just play what he thought about the last play.
All right. I'm thinking about this play. I had to get out a quick analysis of it right after the game because I watched it now a couple of times. I had an initial reaction. I think I was actually wrong about it, and I wanted to take another look and kind of break down what I saw. So they don't run anything on this inbounds. IQ is here. Grimes is here. There's no cutting. There's no screening. iHeart comes around the Julius screen. The whole play here is absolutely designed to go to Randall right over here. Now, oftentimes when an inbounder, including Brunson, they've run this a couple times, inbounds the ball to this area, the play is set for them to come around and to the rim. That doesn't seem to be the option here based on the fact that Brunson clears out. So the play call was, in fact, for Julius Randle to isolate on Anthony Davis. Now, I think that's crazy. I don't agree with that decision. I understand that LeBron's guarding Brunson, and maybe you don't like that matchup either, but I like it better than this because Brunson's been great in this game. Randle hasn't because Brunson is able to get his shot off more consistently than Randle is. I just don't think this is smart. And with 4.5 seconds left when this play started, you can run an action for Brunson to help get LeBron off of him. Maybe quickly comes and screens quickly, and quickly, no pun intended, and Brunson can get downhill. But this is just like a really weird play call. Now, what happens next? Right here, Julius has to see this. And not because LeBron can't recover to Brunson if the pass is made, because he can, but this is in front of you, and if Brunson gets this catch, he's at least able to get downhill, if not take the shot right away. With LeBron kind of trailing him, he gets into that gap, someone's going to have to help. And that opens up a shot maybe for a wide open three to win the game. Or if the corner comes off, Russ comes off, maybe you get Grimes for a three. So on Randle here to make this pass right away and let Brunson get downhill. Bad play call, bad execution.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? And his name is Rit Holtzman, right? And if I'll put his Twitter handle as well in the description. He does some beautiful breakdowns of different plays in a particular game. He may break down. I think once he broke down just Randle on defense, earlier in the season. So he's a contributor for Knicks Film School as well as the Strickland. Rit Holtzman at Ben Rit Holtz NBA. Check him out. Again, I'll put the link in the description. I agree. I definitely agree. And like I said, Brunson has not been perfect. He is not. But in this particular game, he was getting his shot off. It didn't matter. Look at Schroeder. Longer, taller. It didn't matter. He was getting in the key with AD, still getting his shot off. And listen, he might have missed. I just feel like you have to play the percentages. That's just where I am. Let me see. Spanish Harlem. LOL, y'all swear Tibbs a bad coach. Randle our best player. Of course, plays will be designed for him in the clutch. It's what it is. I'm on record as of saying that I think Brunson is our best player, though I do think it's close. And the reason I'm giving Brunson the edge is because he's better in the clutch. Listen, it was just a bad call, in my opinion. And it was definitely a bad read. Definitely a bad read by Randall. But I get the challenge of trying to pass the ball into Brunson. He's not the quickest, he's not the longest, he's not the tallest, but you could have screened off LeBron and maybe sprung sprung Brunson. So I wasn't happy with that. And then of course in overtime they hit like, I don't know, 2, 3 3-pointers, blew the game open, and then we just weren't able to recover in overtime. Um, I disagree. Somebody says that Almighty Finesse says the play was on Randall, not Tibbs. I mean, yeah, I think both. I think both. Now, RJ was out of the game at that time. So it's kind of limiting your options. RJ's out of the game at that time. You definitely don't. Do you want Grimes or IQ inbounding the ball? Maybe. Maybe. You're running the risk if you have Randall taking the ball out, that if you can't get the ball to Brunson, now it's Quickly or Grimes taking the last shot, right? You run the risk if you have so yeah, you got to decide who's taking the ball out. Is Brunson taking the ball out? Is Randall taking the ball out? Right? So I'm pretty sure these were the decisions, that the coaching staff or Tibbs was thinking about. Who's taking the ball out? Right? So, would you have rather, Randall take the ball out? So I think all of these points are fair. I think all of these points are fair. I just think Randall should have gotten the ball out of his hands, but you already know he's not a good clutch player. So why are you, it's going to be hit and miss when the ball is in his hand in clutch time. That's a tough position. Efrain Lopez, such a winnable game. If we just played a cleaner game in the first half when the Lakers were struggling. That's true. But what I found with these NBA games, even if you play lights out in the first half, it's just hard to keep a good team from coming back. It's a game of runs, so even had we been up more, say Schroeder didn't hit that shot, say we're up 3, 5, 7, even 10 points at the half. You think the Lakers are not going to come back? I think they are. Andrew K. Knicks pay RJ $100 million to bench it. Yeah, but he deserved to be benched. I don't care how much money you're making. He deserved it. He was playing terrible. Terrible. And this is one thing, criticism I have of Tibbs. When a guy is playing well, let him rock out. When a guy's not playing well, take him out the game. Now, the thing with RJ is there's replacements. You got Quickly and Grimes. Both of them who can score, both of them who can defend. However, you're giving up size, right? The Knicks, once you take RJ Barrett out of the game, you're giving up size on that wing position because here comes Quickly, right? So that's what, in crunch time, when you think about it, a center is going to be in the game. And shout out to iHeart last night. Either iHeart or Sims is going to be in the game. Brunson is going to be in the game. Randall is going to be in the game no matter what. So now you got RJ, Quickly, and Grimes. You got to pick 2 of those 3 players to close the game. And there's a conundrum. If you go with Quickly and Grimes, you're going to get defense, you're going to get offense, you're going to get shooting, but they're small. You go with RJ, if he's playing well, you're going to get some size out there. You're going to get some shot making. He's pretty good. I don't know what his numbers are as of late on the catch and shoot, but he's pretty good on the catch and shoot 3. Maybe he can post up, a smaller defender. His defense is hit or miss. He's had mostly miss, but he has had some good defensive possessions, right? It's a tough call. So now you're choosing between those three players. Crunch time is here, and RJ has been playing terribly throughout the game. So what do you decide to do? Nah, I'm gonna go with Quickly and Grimes, and I don't know if I can argue with that. Now, Randall also has bad shooting games, but what's the alternative? Because in my opinion, even a bad Randall game is better than what you're gonna get from Obi in those same minutes, right? So it's not as enticing an alternative for Randall when he's not playing well as it is with RJ, RJ Barrett. Sharon, if Brunson gets the ball, he's not giving it up. And why do you want him to? It's 4.2 seconds left in the game. He's been killing all night. He had 37 points. It didn't matter who they put on him. Why is he giving up the ball? Only time I'm giving up a ball, as Rit Holtz said, is if he's going downhill and I think it was Brown or Westbrook come over, then you can, hit IQ, then you can hit Grimes. Grimes was 0 for 5. I'm taking a shot in the key before I'm passing the ball out to Grimes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I get it. A lot of us, what's the best shot? What's the best shot? Doesn't matter how that person is shooting, just what's the best shot. And for me, if somebody is hot and that's your best player, I would take a contested shot from them over a wide open shot from somebody who hasn't been shooting well all game. That's just me. Good morning, sis. I appreciate you. I don't know if this is one of those vacation days the Board of Ed has. Hope you don't get in trouble here. Nev, I didn't miss it, Nev, but let me read it now. Sorry, Steph. The coach is going to make this offense a Julius-centric offense, and he's going to get booed by the fans. Thank you for the super chat. Nev, you might be right. But I think, for fans, let's not be short-sighted, right? You could say Tibbs and Randall lost us this game, but how many games have Tibbs and Randall won us? You know what I mean? So let's be fair about it. Nobody is going to shoot 100%, right? Nobody's going to bat 100%. It was a bad call. It was a bad execution. I don't know what Randall was thinking. He usually passes at the last possible minute, but for this time with AD on him and a double team, I don't even know if he saw the double team until he turned into it. But he had an opportunity to fake, get AD in the air, and even go to the foul line. So, anyway, listen, Julius Randle has played very well this season. Very well. So if you're going to turn on him and you're going to start booing him for this game, I'm not with you. I'm not with you on that. Pudge Nice, Tibbs, and Randall are the issues. Saw it in person. Man, you quickly has a defensive rating of 114.5 this season. I'm not sure where you're getting that. I'm getting mine from NBA.com. JJ, when was RJ cooking? False narrative. I see you at work, sis. They could be, the principal of the school could be listening to the show, Sang Freud 929, Brunson and IQ are the only consistent players on this team. Brunson has been, he's had some not so great games as well, but all players do. Shout out to Ron from Still Knick Fans. What's good, Knick family? Salute to the chat. Salute to the Queen staff. I appreciate you. But Brunson has failed in a stretch of the games too. Yes, he will. Pudge Nice feels that Randall will fold in the playoffs. He promises us that. Okay. Mets Knicks fan, let's go. Appreciate you. You have to be able to get your own shot off. You do. But if they're blitzing, they're double team, you got to find a way to get the ball out of your hands. Thune got it. _ got it. I don't know if I got it, but I appreciate you. I don't know if I got your name right. RJ was playing better than Grimes. RJ had a good third quarter, and Tibbs stopped playing him. Let me see. RJ Barrett had 4 points in the third quarter. So maybe there was something he was doing Maybe it was something he was doing defensively. I just didn't see it in RJ Barrett last night. Troy Van Tol, appreciate you. Queen, it goes both way. If your start is playing bad too, they need to be benched too, meaning Randall. Yeah, but I just explained that. What's the alternative with Randall? You know, with RJ, there's some alternatives. With Randall, you know, there isn't. Sherwin says IQ gets bullied by bigger guard. Yeah, I wish IQ is like 2 inches taller. I really do. I don't know about bullied, but he's definitely overmatched. They need to practice passing out of the double team. Pudge Nice Bay on the way. We're gonna talk about that. Brunson in my eyes has been awful. He's not sharing the ball. When we say sharing the ball, what do we mean? I mean, if you're saying that he's initiating the offense, he's getting in the key, he's double teamed, and he's forcing it, I definitely agree. That's just reading the defense. So if you're saying he's not reading the defense, well, I agree. There were plays in which he was double teamed, people was open, you need to pass the ball. But when you say share the ball, for whatever reason, that just sounds like, oh, just come out and just, just pass it around and whoever's open, gets to take the shot. No. The best players are going to take the most shots. The best players, the ball is going to be in their hands. But yes, he has to read the defense. If he's double teamed, don't force it. Pass it out. DeWine, in my opinion, Randall has played some good games, but in the clutch, he's not doing well. And that is a understatement as we just went through the stats. All right, let's get into the individual stats really quick. Brunson, 37 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, shot basically 45% from the field. Randall, 23 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, shot just 31.6% from the field. Quickly, 19 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists, 50% from the field. Loving Quickly. I'm going to say this. I'm saying the same thing about Quickly every game. He's playing well. His defense is really good. He's playing within the flow of the game. He's making good decisions. I believe he had 13 points in the first half. 13 points in the first half. He was a big part of the Knicks going into halftime with just with a 1-point lead. Hartenstein. And and I kept looking at this to see, did I get this wrong? Hartenstein, 16 points, 13 rebounds, 1 assist, 7 to 10 from the field, played 40 minutes. And I think a lot of that, the minute allotment between him and Sims really depends on if there's length in the opposing team's lineup. If there's length, it seems like Hartenstein gets most of the minutes. If they're quicker centers, quicker bigs, seems like Sims gets the bulk of the minutes. I said about maybe 4 games ago, it might be 5 games now, that Hartenstein just looked a bit more spry. I know he had an Achilles, injury. I don't know if that was it. I don't know if he's finally just finding his stride. But he's looked really good over the past 4 or 5 games. And last night, 16 points, 13 rebounds. That's a phenomenal game from iHeart. And listen, the Knicks have a decision to make. He's been playing well the last 5 games. Is he part of your future? Do you see him, next year being a big part of the team? Keep him. He seems to be turning the corner. If you don't really see him, like you've seen enough of Sims, kind of how you want to play defensively. When Mitch goes out the game, you want to bring in a similar type player so that you can play the same way, for the entire game. And so you're thinking that you want Sims now to back up Mitch. This is the time to move Hartenstein, where he's been playing well over the past 4 or 5 games. So that's a decision that the Knicks have to make. The Lakers, LeBron, 28 points, 11 rebounds, 44% from the field. I believe he had a triple double, actually. Davis, 27 points, 9 rebounds, 2 steals, shot 56.3% from the field. Hachimura, 19 points, 9 rebounds, 1 a block, 66.7% from the field. He was the difference maker for them, in my opinion. He hit the open shots. He played good defense on Randall. He's a really good addition. And it just goes to show that fit matters. You may have a player that doesn't do well on one team, goes to another team, and fits right with what they need, right? And they play better, right? And that may be what happens, with Cam, if he's moved. Westbrook, 17.6 rebounds, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals. The Knicks shot 45% from the field, only 20.6% from the three-point line. They took 34 three-pointers and hit 7. It's a wonder they were even in the game. It was a wonder that the game even went into overtime shooting like that. They did shoot 87.5% from the free throw line. Los Angeles, 51.6% from the field, 33.3% from the three-point line, 71% from the free throw line. Let me see if there's anybody else I want to point out. Grimes, and we'll talk about him a little later as well. I thought Grimes, he didn't shoot well from the 3, 0 for 5. But other than that, he was 6 of 12 overall. So that means those 6 field goals were all 2-point field goals. I thought he attacked the closeouts appropriately. He was open. He took the 3. When he was able to put it on the floor, he did. And he went to the basket and he scored this time, right? 12 points, 2 steals, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. Really good game for Grimes. Listen, he's gonna be up and down, like I said. This is basically his first season. We talked about Quick, Obi, 3 points, 5 rebounds. I thought in that second quarter, like I mentioned earlier, Obi was I was just so impressed with his rebounding. Miles McBride, 9 minutes, not much to show for it. RJ Barrett, 5 for 13, 0 for 3, 13 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. Statistically, it doesn't look too bad, but in the game, when you just saw how he was missing, it looked really bad to me. But statistically, it doesn't really look too bad. 5 for 13, 0 for 3. Went to the line 4 times, hit three of them. Statistically, it doesn't look bad. That 3-point shooting, Randall 2 for 9, Brunson 2 for 7, Quentin Grimes 0 for 5, Quickly 2 for 6. Yeah, let me check in with the chat before I get in. Checking with the chat again. Grimes is my favorite Knick. I'll take his lumps in stride. JJ, Grimes and Quickly are more impactful than RJ. Sang Freud 929. We have Grimes for his 3 and D. We need a shooter. Otherwise, we need young Sims, but AD was too experienced. Yeah, I agree with that. Sang Freud 929 said, don't forget, Randall had 3 steals. I see that. I know it's in small print up there, but I don't see that. Is this the right? Yeah, it says Randall had 0 steals, 4 turnovers, 5 assists. Grimes had 2 steals. All right. AD was abusing Sims in the first. He'll learn. He's gonna have to take his his lumps. He had to take his lumps for sure. I told you Queen IQ was more important to this team than Brunson. Sorry, 35 plus and a loss not good. Nah. Shotgunner. And I like the way IQ is playing, but in no way am I saying he's more important to this team than Brunson. I have to disagree with that. Paris Doug, appreciate you. Randall is a great guy, but an almost guy. We got to move on. Why? Why do we got to move on from Randall? Because he had a bad game? No. The front office has to bring in somebody better than Randall, move Randall down to the number 2 slot. It's not his fault that he's arguably the best player on this team. That's on the front office. So, no, we don't have to move on from Randall. And I'm tired of Knicks fans when Randall have a bad game. Now we got to move on from him. And when he has a slate of good games, people are quiet. Stop. Let's stop. Appreciate the super chat, though. All right. All right. RJ is being moved also because of lack of mobility. We shall see. We shall see. All right, team stats. I think the only thing I want to, we out-rebounded the Lakers by 1. Randall was on the board. Ihart was on the board. Obi with 5 rebounds. That really helped us out-rebound them by just 1. We had 27 assists to their 29. So the Knicks were moving the ball, though I agree there were possessions, in which there were more assists to be had the person, if the pass was made and the person knocked it down. 20% from 3 is not going to work. The Knicks, 62 points in the paint. That's where Randall eats. That's where Brunson eats. They they were +8 in the paint over the Lakers. 15 second chance points. And 38, is that right? 38 to 34. Sometimes I get it mixed up, but 38 to 34 bench points. Thanks to IQ and thanks to Hartenstein, who I thought played very well in his 40 minutes. The Knicks might want to think, again about whether or not they want to trade Hartenstein. I know the Clippers are interested. Well, there was a rumor or report that the Clippers want him back. I don't know. The Knicks might want to think about that. Shout out to Quentin Grimes. I don't know. Is JJ the president of the Quentin Grimes? We got a lot of clubs here. And I think JJ might be the president. Oh, and Stafford Don of the Quentin Grimes Club. And this is your reward. He will be playing in the All-Star weekend in the rookie sophomore. Are they going back to rookie sophomore instead of American International? Okay, I guess so. Anyway, he'll be playing in the Rising Stars game. And I read his quote. He was really excited to be a part of All-Star Weekend and that he's going to go and just soak it all up. I'm really happy for him. And listen, I've said, I'm not averse to, just because I feel like we need a more reliable 2-point shooter doesn't mean I'm down on Grimes. And I've said Grimes is exactly where he should be given the number of games that he's played in the NBA. And I'm really, really high on him. To the point, right? So let's talk about reasonably untouchable players. So I think we would all agree that when a team is trying to get better and a star becomes available, for the most part, every player is on the table, probably except your best player if you feel like you do have a star. So, for example, when KD became available, Jaylen Brown was on the table. Tatum wasn't, but Jaylen Brown was on the table, right? So when I say reasonably untouchable, because for the most part, anybody can be traded for a player that's better than them. But for me personally, I'm not trading IQ or Grimes unless it's in a package for a star. Those guys, in my opinion, are just reasonably untouchable. Reasonably untouchable unless we're putting them in a package for a star player. I really like the way Quickly has come along in his 3rd year. Grimes, 3 years from now, and he can level off. You playing the percentages, right? When you start projecting, remember how we projected about RJ Barrett, his rookie year, right? So a player can continue on that trajectory or a player can level off, right? I think at this point we can all agree with that. You can level off. All right. So now we have to say, if he continues on this same trajectory, right? That's a safe way of saying it. He's going to be I'm not going to say a star, but he's going to be a really, really, really good NBA player if he continues on this trajectory. Both IQ and Grimes. Those guys are really, really good. And I would just let them marinate, let them bake, let them rock. Unless a star comes along, obviously you have to do it. Other than that, keep Quickly, pay Quickly, keep Grimes, right? RJ Barrett, in my opinion, and this is just me, and I know the RJ fans, I don't know who's the president of the RJ Barrett Club, is not going to like this. I would be shocked if RJ Barrett was on this team come next season. I would really be shocked. Obviously, the way his contract is, it's going to be hard to trade him right now at the trade deadline. But I think sometime in July, that poison pill, as they call it, is I don't know if the word is expired, but it's no longer an issue, and he becomes tradable. What you're going to be able to get for him, I don't know. But in my opinion, I think if you're going to keep Randall and RJ are pretty much the same players. I just feel like you need a two-way wing. At the 2 guard, you need a shooter who could defend. And at the 3, we need some length. When we take RJ Barrett out of the game, we got to go with quickly, So we might even need 2 wings, But that's just my my feeling on RJ Barrett. It's not necessarily that I'm giving up on him. I personally would just want a two-way player at the 3 position. And I don't see RJ Barrett I don't think RJ Barrett shoots well enough to be a shooting guard. And I get what people are saying. He can overpower players. He can get to the rim. RJ Barrett can overpower anybody, a shooting guard or a small forward. So to me, in terms of him going downhill, there's nobody that can stop RJ Barrett getting downhill. The issue with RJ Barrett is at the rim finishing, and he's doing a better job this year than last year. All right. And then I want to get out of here. My latest take on Anunoby, I like him. I'm not giving up 3 first-round picks for OG Anunoby. I'm not doing it. I'm not giving up more than 1 first-round pick for OG. I'm just not doing it. And I don't like the fit between OG on one wing and RJ Barrett on another. I don't like that fit at all. Neither one of those guys, they can shoot the 3. Are they knockdown shooters? I don't know if we would consider Anunoby a knockdown shooter, though. I think his percentage is pretty good this year from 3. And even overall, I don't consider him a knockdown shooter, right? If we can get him, fine. For me, wait until the offseason. And if you could create a package with RJ Barrett for Anunoby, where Anunoby is taking RJ Barrett's spot, and then we have a 2 guard, maybe Grimes is coming more into his own as far as being a more consistent shooter, I would like that better. But I'm not high on an RJ Barrett, Anunoby, Randall pairing. I'm just not. We need some shooting, some consistent shooting on my team. So that's where I'm at with Anunoby. If you can get him for a first-round pick and the players that are out of the rotation, that's fine. I'm not giving up IQ. I'm not giving up Grimes. Those 2, in my opinion, are only going in a trade for a star, not for Anunoby, who I like and want on this team, but for the right price. A first-round pick and a protected first, I'll think about it. But what gives me pause with Anunoby is his injury history. Like I don't understand why his price is not coming down given his injury history. I just don't get it. So I could take or leave Anunoby. If we can get him for a fair price, go for it. If not, wait till the offseason, see if you can trade RJ for him. I'm not sure if they'll go for that. I think you're going to have to add something even to RJ. Anyway, Saddiq Bey, there's been rumors that the Knicks are interested in Saddiq Bey. How tall is Saddiq Bey? Is Sharon in the chat? Sharon, can you tell me how tall Saddiq Bey is? Saddiq Bey from Detroit. I like Saddiq Bey. Again, what are we giving up? What are we giving up for, Saddiq Bey? I like that he's a two-way player. Sometimes his shot goes south too, right? He really struggled to begin this season, but he could shoot the 3. He could definitely defend. He could defend players. He's 6'7". Oh, I like 6'7". Building Block said 6'8". Now I'm even more happy because I thought he was like around 6'6". If he's 6'7" or 6'8", yeah, I'm liking that. And again, he's not a star. He's not a star. He could hit the 3. He could defend his position. I don't want any other players on this team who's only playing one side of the ball. I'm sorry. That's just where I am. All right, let's see what the Keith Turner don't want no trash player in Bay. I need a real upgrade. Listen, chess. You know, Bay may make us a little bit better in terms of our defense, but then that next player makes us even more better. We got to get two-way players on this team. We have to get two-way players on this team. And I don't believe in just sitting back and waiting for a star to come over the horizon. That could be a year. That could be 2 years. That could be 3 years. So we're not going to upgrade our team. We're just going to sit and stand pat with this team until an all-star becomes or NBA player becomes available. No, you still have to upgrade your team. 6-7. Bay is terrible on defense, defensive rating of 122. Listen, it takes more than one person to defend. You know, does he have the tools to defend? That's what you're looking at. Does he have the tools to defend? If he has the tools to defend, you go to a defensive-minded team, which we can argue about that with the Knicks as of late. He may be better on defense. How was Booker on defense, you know, before Monty Williams got there? You know? So for me, does he have the tools to defend? Ajay, forget OG. Yeah. I know you don't want OG. Still, Knicks fans, you guys understand that Brunson has taken a lot of pressure off of Julius Randle. You also know that Brunson helped keep the Knicks in games when teams make runs. Brunson hits big baskets, timely hooping. Yeah, I haven't talked about that as much this year as I have in years past on, you know, on Nothing But Knicks. Shout out to Simeon Russell and that fam. Timely shots. You can have a guy that's just dead in the water all game, and they make a shot at a key moment in the game to pull you, you know, to extend your lead or to help you get back in the game. Timely shots. Timely shots. Shagan, I was advocating for IQ starting this season before we got Brunson, but I am pleased with how Brunson has helped IQ's game. I have a scary feeling that RJ has hit his ceiling. I hope not. I hope not. JJ OG is a better three-point shooter than RJ. RJ, again, I agree. I like him better on this, you know, on this team as well. What's the price? What's the price? Shouldn't there be a discount if a guy has an injury history? I mean, come on. And I hope the Knicks are not being super thirsty for OG, that they're giving up 2 and 3 first-round draft picks. You know, if I'm Toronto, Ujiri, yeah, I'm asking for the moon. But the Knicks have to be the one to draw the line in the sand. He's injury prone. We don't know how many games he's going to play next season and the season after that. We're not giving up a treasure trove of first-round draft picks for someone who may play 40, 50 games. Sean Kearns, I like Bay too. And somebody said he's on his rookie contract. All right. That's all I got for that. The Knicks right now are 7th in the Eastern Conference, now 2 games behind Miami, who we play Thursday, and 1.5 games above Atlanta. Washington has won 6 games. They're creeping up. They're in 9th place and just a half a game behind Atlanta. You know, so they may even be in the 8th spot by the time we meet again. And it just goes to show 6 through 12, there's going to be turnover. Those are quality teams. Miami, New York, Atlanta, Washington, Indiana, Chicago, Toronto. Quality teams, right? Indiana's struggling 1-9 over their last 10, right? So when we look at the Knicks struggling and being inconsistent, we have to keep in mind the rest of the teams that they're in competition with for 6 through 12, they go through those same things. Washington has won 6 straight. There was a point in the season where I think they lost 6, at least 6, if not more. That's just how it is with these, you know, with these teams. The Knicks are a young team in age, like I said earlier, as well as playing together. It's going to be up and down. But when you watch the Knicks at their best, you can't tell me that you don't see something there when they are at their best. It's just a matter of getting consistent with this is just who they are, game in and game out. It's going to take some time for them. All right. And then I'll check in with the chat. We play the Heat Thursday. Right now, the Heat are 29-23. And the Heat was another team that was struggling earlier in the season, but has seemed to found their strides with players becoming healthy. But also Miami is ahead of the Knicks in terms of playing together, right? Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Caleb Martin, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. Not a lot of turnover. Caleb Martin may not have started last year. I'm not sure, but he was on the team, right? So this is a team that is hitting their stride. They've had some injuries. Kyle Lowry has been in and out. Hero has been in and out. Butler has been in and out. They're finding their stride, right? The Knicks, Brunson, new addition. This year, I think they're playing phenomenal given trying to integrate Brunson, and the Knicks are only going to get better. Imagine what this Knicks team is going to be next season after 1 year of playing together. All right. Anyway, their offensive rating is 27th. They're not a really good offensive team. However, a lot of this 27th was when Lowry was out, was when Hero was out. This particular team, and maybe I should have run it, and maybe I'll do it afterwards. I wonder what their offensive rating has been over the last 10 games when they're 7-3. I bet you it's not 27th, right? And as a matter of fact, I don't want to hold up the show too much, but it's pretty easy to get to see what over the last 10 games, what Miami's defensive rating has been. All right, let me just see real quick. Second. So you think, this is their offense 27th, they're not really a good offensive team, but over the last 10 games, their offensive rating is second in the league, and they're tied with a lot of players. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams tied as the number 2 team. Oh, sorry. No, looking at the wrong thing. Sorry, guys, looking at the wrong thing. Looking at the wrong thing. Offensive rating. I was looking at their win percentage during that time. It's not that much better. It's not that much better. They're 27th over on the season. And over the last 10 games in which they've been 7-3, their offensive rating is 24. It's 24. So it's really their defense that's been carrying them. Over the last 10 games, they're number 1 in defensive rating. Number 1 in defensive rating. So it's their defense that's carrying them, right? So I anticipate a stifling defense from the Miami Heat. And the Knicks are going to have to try to score against a stifling defense. Now, the Knicks over the last 10 games have the 6th best offense in the entire league, 119 points per 100 possessions. So you're going to have the number 6 offense going against the number 1 defense over the last 10 games. It's going to be really hard for the Knicks. But I'm looking forward to this game because you just get to see how your team prepares against a really hard-nosed defensive team, which Milwaukee was, right? And we did fine against Milwaukee, right? Anytime you look at something and be like, oh, man, I think the Knicks are going to lose this game, they surprise us, right? Because there's 2 Knicks teams. The Knicks team that's, playing really good defense, hitting their shots, making good decisions, moving the ball, and then the other Knicks team that's giving up 3-pointers, not playing defense, not sharing the ball, and you're not even hot. It's one thing if you're hot and you're taking the shots, but when you're not hot, forcing shots, that's a problem. All right, so let's see what Knicks team shows up against the Miami Heat. Shout out to Paris Duggar. RJ and the number 1 pick for OG is in the works right now. RJ and the number 1 is, I think Anunoby is better than RJ because of the defense and just you know, a lot of OG's shots are assisted as well. So it's not like, I mean, he can put the ball on the floor and go to the basket. He can pull up for the short mid range. He can hit the three, but a good portion of his shots are assisted as well. So this is not somebody that's going to have the ball in his hand, you know, rocking people to sleep with the ball as he trying to create a shot. That's not OG. That being said, I still like him better than I like RJ Barrett, but you also have to factor in OG is 25. RJ is what, 22, 23. 2 years from now, can you imagine that RJ would be where OG is? Offensively, yes. Defensively, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. So I'm saying all of that, Parrish Duggan, to say, I don't know. Do I need to also attach a first-round draft pick if I'm giving up RJ Barrett? No. Anyway, I'm back Friday morning for the morning recap show of the Heat game. Friday night, we're going to do the Just Nicking It show. We usually do it Thursday, but the Knicks play Miami Thursday, so we're moving it to Friday. Shout out to Sanami, Jarrell, Stafford Don, and any guests. Wiz was on the show. Anybody? Ajay, I appreciate you. Eddie C drops by. Anybody who wants to drop by, hit me up for the link. You can drop by the show. Sunday, I'll also be back for the morning recap of the Clipper show, and Monday morning, I'll be back for the morning recap of the Philadelphia 76ers, who we play Sunday. All right, let me just give a shout out some people. It's an hour show. I'm always shooting for like 30 to 45 minutes. I never make it. Jarrell, I appreciate you. Sangford 929, Building Blocks, Jeffrey Clafter, Jody MacGyver, Dish Dash 73. We really miss Big Mitch. We do. But keep in mind, our defense was sliding even with Mitch. But I still miss him. Shotgun, I appreciate you. He wants to give up. What? All right. G Money, appreciate you. Team doesn't move the rock and plays too much ISO. I agree that does happen at times. Keith Turner, I appreciate you. Parrish Duggan, always a pleasure. Let me see. Ajay, DJ Space Goat, Pudge Nice, Ally Wise, Harlem Girl listening in the background. Wiz, Ashley Ink One, I appreciate you. Think I might miss some people. Delano still one. Ron still Nick fans. Building Blocks. If Sadiq Bey is 6'8", you know, it's a small upgrade. You know, I agree. He's not a star, but I still think he's a upgrade. Spanish Harlem, I appreciate you. My sister Dewan Bailey, I appreciate you. Get back to work for that principal be on you. Tim Smith, who was in here early. Kerry Cox, who has lost all faith in Obi Toppin. I thought Obi Toppin was really good in that second quarter. Deron Wayne, I appreciate you as well. He says we got a rough stretch of the schedule coming up. Gonna need Randall and Barrett to get back in the groove. Yeah, Barrett just seemed really off last night. Not the usual Barrett, who can be inconsistent. I think I'm used to that. But he still gives us other things. Last night, I thought he was really off. However, when you look at the stat sheet, it really didn't look that bad. Anyway, I'm out of here, Nick family. I appreciate you. Hit that like button. We got 60 people watching. Please hit the like button on your way out. Appreciate you.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. DopeSoul.
Where you at?
DopeSoul.
Where you at?
DopeSoul.